If you want to know where you're headed in life, take a look at the people around you. Your circle will either push you forward or pull you back. You cannot expect to grow if you surround yourself with individuals who settle for mediocrity. If the people closest to you complain, make excuses, and avoid challenges, that mindset will rub off on you. You start thinking maybe it's okay to slack off today, or maybe success isn't for me. But let me tell you something. Your mind is a product of your environment. You must surround yourself with people who challenge you, people who inspire you, and people who are doing better than you. You need to be in rooms where you're the least knowledgeable, where you feel pressure to level up. That pressure isn't a bad thing. It's the fire that will forge you into the person you need to become. Think about athletes. They don't train with people who are weaker or slower than them. They train with the best so they can get better. The same applies to your life. If you're the smartest, hardest working person in your circle, you're in the wrong circle. You have to elevate your surroundings. The right environment will stretch you, force you to think bigger, and keep you accountable. You need people who push you to stay consistent, who remind you of your goals when you feel like quitting. If your circle isn't doing that for you, it's time to change your circle. Your growth isn't just about the people around you. It's also about the physical environment you put yourself in every day. If you wake up in a cluttered, messy room, your mind starts the day feeling chaotic. If you spend all your time in places that don't inspire you, you won't feel motivated to reach for more. Look at the places you spend your time. Are they helping you or holding you back? Your environment should reflect your goals. If you want success, you need to create an environment that supports that. Maybe that means cleaning your space, organizing your schedule, or eliminating distractions. Maybe it means going to coffee shops where you can focus, reading books instead of watching mindless content, or putting up visual reminders of your goals. Successful people design their environments to set themselves up for growth. They don't leave it to chance. Your surroundings should reinforce the mindset you want to have. The reason so many people stay stuck in life isn't that they aren't capable, it's that their environment makes them comfortable. When everything around you is familiar and easy, you stop pushing yourself. Growth happens when you step into environments that challenge you, that force you to adapt, that make you uncomfortable. If you've been in the same place for years and nothing has changed, it's because your environment is keeping you at the same level. Look at successful people. They didn't get where they are by staying in comfortable situations. They put themselves in environments that demanded more from them. If you want to grow, you need to get uncomfortable. Maybe that means moving to a new city, switching jobs, joining a new community, or cutting off old habits. You have to make the hard decisions to create an environment that forces you to become better. You can have all the talent in the world, but if you're in the wrong environment, you will never reach your full potential. If you spend your time around negativity, people who constantly complain, places that drain your energy, conversations that kill your ambition, you will struggle to grow. You cannot plant a seed in toxic soil and expect it to flourish. A negative environment weakens your mindset. It makes you second guess yourself. It keeps you distracted. You start doubting your dreams, settling for less, and losing the hunger you once had. That's why you have to be intentional about removing yourself from anything that drains you. Cut out the negativity. Walk away from conversations that don't serve you. Stop engaging with people who only bring drama into your life. Protect your energy because your success depends on it. The biggest mistake people make is thinking they're stuck in their current environment. You are never stuck. You always have a choice. If your environment isn't serving you, change it. If you don't have the right people around you, seek them out. If your surroundings don't inspire you, move to a new place, create a new space, or adjust your habits. Too many people stay in situations that limit their growth because they're afraid of change. But nothing will change until you make the decision to upgrade your environment. You have control over what you consume, who you talk to, where you spend your time. If you want to grow, start by taking control of your surroundings. Your environment is shaping you even when you're not paying attention. Whether you realize it or not, every conversation, every piece of content you consume, every place you spend time in is leaving an imprint on your mind. And the thing about the human mind is it adapts. You don't stay neutral. You are either growing or you are shrinking. You are either getting stronger or you are getting weaker. And what determines that? The environment you expose yourself to every single day. People look at successful individuals and think they were just born different. No, they were intentional. They were disciplined about where they placed themselves, about who they spent time with, about what they allowed into their space. You want success, but are you willing to create the right environment for success to happen? A lion in the wild is different from a lion in captivity. Why? Because the environment determines its instincts, its behaviors, its hunger. Put a lion in a cage, feed it every day, and it forgets how to hunt. It forgets how to survive in the wild. It gets comfortable. It loses its edge. Some of you are stuck not because you aren't talented, not because you don't have potential, but because you've let your environment make you comfortable. If you always feel safe, always feel at ease, always feel unchallenged, that's a sign you need to change your environment. Growth comes from discomforts. You should be in spaces that make you think bigger. You should be around people who make you question if you're doing enough. You should be in situations that push you to level up. If your environment isn't doing that, you have to create a new one. Stop waiting for permission to change your environment. Nobody is going to come and rescue you from a place that's keeping you stuck. Nobody's going to come and force you into a better situation. That's on you. Too many people sit in toxic environments hoping things will magically get better, hoping that one day the people around them will start supporting them, hoping that one day they'll suddenly feel motivated. That day isn't coming. If your environment isn't serving you, you have to take action. You have to decide that you are worth more than the place you're in. And listen, changing your environment isn't always easy. Sometimes it means walking away from people who have been in your life for years. Sometimes it means distancing yourself from family members who don't support your vision. Sometimes it means leaving a city, a job, a relationship, whatever it is that's keeping you small. That's tough. But you know what's even tougher? Staying in a place that kills your potential. You were not designed to stay in one spot. You were not meant to stay stuck in an environment that drains you. You were built to grow, to evolve, to expand. But you can't do that in a place that keeps you playing small. Some of you are surrounded by people who have no ambition, no vision, no drive, and you wonder why you struggle to stay motivated. It's not a motivation problem, it's an environment problem. When you step into the right environment, everything changes. You think differently, you act differently, you start moving like the person you want to become. You start believing in yourself because you see other people who have done what you're trying to do. That's why your environment matters so much. It sets the standard for what you believe is possible. Look at your life right now. Look at the people you talk to daily. Look at the content you consume. Look at the places you spend your time. Are these things helping you grow? Are they making you better? Are they pushing you forward? Or are they holding you back? If you want more, you have to do more. If you want better, you have to choose better. Success isn't random. It's built, and it starts with your environment. Some of you are wondering why you're not growing, why you're not reaching that next level, why you feel stuck. It's because you're still hanging around the same people, still doing the same things, still surrounding yourself with the same energy. You cannot grow in an environment that was never meant to support your vision. You cannot become your best self in a place that only nurtures the version of you that plays small. Think about a seed. A seed has everything inside it to grow into a tree, but if it's planted in bad soil, if it doesn't get enough sunlight, if it doesn't get enough water, it will never reach its full potential. The problem is not the seed, the problem is the environment. And that's what's happening to a lot of you. You have everything inside of you to succeed, but you're in the wrong environment. You're in an environment that is draining you instead of fueling you. So what are you going to do about it? Some of you have gotten so used to where you are that you don't even realize how much is holding you back. You've gotten comfortable in an environment that's limiting you. You're surrounded by people who don't challenge you. You're in a space that doesn't inspire you. You're in routines that keep you stagnant, and the longer you stay there, the harder it becomes to break free. You have to start making changes. You have to be intentional. You have to put yourself in rooms where the conversations are different. You have to surround yourself with people who make you level up. You have to expose yourself to new information, new ideas, new experiences that stretch your mind. Growth doesn't happen by accident. It happens by design. And I get it. Change is uncomfortable. It's scary. It's uncertain. But you know what's scarier? Waking up 5 years from now in the exact same place, living the exact same life, having the exact same problems. That's terrifying. The pain of staying the same is far greater than the pain of change. You have to start seeing yourself as someone who is worthy of a better environment. Stop settling for spaces that drain you. Stop surrounding yourself with people who make you feel small. Stop giving your time and energy to places that don't align with where you're trying to go. You are responsible for the environment you allow yourself to be in. If it's not serving you, you have to make the decision to walk away. And listen, when you start changing your environment, not everyone is going to understand. Some people are going to call you different. Some people are going to say you changed. Good. You're supposed to change. You're supposed to evolve. The goal is not to stay the same. The goal is to become the best version of yourself. The truth is, not everyone is meant to go with you to the next level. Some relationships are seasonal. Some people were only meant to be in your life for a certain phase. Holding on to the wrong environment will delay your growth. Some of you are holding on to people who are keeping you small. Some of you are afraid to step into new spaces because you're worried about what people will think. Let that go. If they don't support your growth, they don't deserve access to your future. And I need you to hear me. There is nothing wrong with outgrowing your environment. That's what growth is. That's what success demands. Every level of life requires a new version of you. The habits, the mindset, the discipline, and the people that got you here are not necessarily what will take you to the next level. So I need you to ask yourself, what kind of environment do I need to be in to become the person I want to be? What changes do I need to make? Who do I need to surround myself with? What do I need to remove from my life? Because success doesn't happen in isolation, it happens in the right environment. And the moment you decide to take control of your surroundings, that's the moment everything changes. Some of you are waiting for the perfect moment to make a move. You're waiting for life to hand you the right conditions, the right people, the right opportunities. But listen to me, success isn't about waiting for the right environment, it's about creating the right environment. If where you are isn't helping you grow, it's time to change it. Too many of you are stuck because you've normalized your surroundings. You've accepted mediocrity because it's familiar. You've accepted negativity because it's comfortable. You've allowed the same habits, the same people, the same distractions to take root in your life, and you don't even realize they're keeping you from your next level. You cannot afford to be passive about your growth. You cannot afford to sit around hoping that one day your circumstances will change. Your environment is shaping you every single day, whether you realize it or not. If you're in a space where people complain more than they take action, where excuses are more common than execution, where nobody is striving for greatness, guess what? That energy is rubbing off on you. You need to start being intentional. You need to start surrounding yourself with people who push you. You need to place yourself in environments that demand your best. Because here's the truth, growth is uncomfortable. Elevation requires separation. The moment you decide to level up, you will start to feel resistance. You will start to feel the pull of your old habits, your old surroundings, your old way of thinking trying to drag you back. But you have to push through. Every successful person you admire had to make that decision. They had to choose growth over comfort. They had to choose discipline over distractions. They had to choose to remove themselves from environments that weren't serving them. That's the difference between those who stay stuck and those who succeed. You have to start being ruthless with your surroundings. Look at your circle. Look at your daily habits. Look at the spaces you spend your time in. Are they feeding your growth or draining it? Are they challenging you to be better or are they keeping you comfortable? If it's not pushing you forward, it's holding you back. Some of you are afraid to leave the environment you're in because it's all you've ever known. You're afraid to step into new spaces because you don't feel ready. But let me tell you something. You will never feel ready. Growth doesn't happen when you feel ready. Growth happens when you step out despite the fear. If you want to change your life, change what you expose yourself to. Start listening to people who inspire you. Start reading books that challenge your thinking. Start putting yourself in rooms where you're the least experienced person there. Get around people who make you uncomfortable because they force you to level up. That's how growth happens. And listen to me, when you start making changes, when you start creating a new environment for yourself, you're going to lose people. Not everyone is meant to go with you. Some people are comfortable with the old version of you because it makes them feel better about staying where they are. The moment you decide to grow, you become a mirror reflecting their lack of growth, and that makes them uncomfortable. But you cannot dim your light to make others feel comfortable. You cannot stay in a space that no longer serves you just because you're afraid of letting go. Growth requires sacrifice. Growth requires courage. Growth requires making hard decisions about who and what you allow in your life. So today I challenge you, take a hard look at your environment. Be honest with yourself. Is it helping you become the person you're meant to be? If the answer is no, it's time to make a change. Because at the end of the day, your success isn't just about talent, effort, or even mindset. It's about what you surround yourself with. And when you take control of that, you take control of your future. You have to realize something. Your environment is either your greatest asset or your greatest liability. It's either pushing you forward or pulling you back. There is no in between. Some of you are wondering why you're not seeing progress, why you're not getting to the next level, but you're stuck in the same places, around the same people, doing the same things you've always done. You're expecting change, but you're unwilling to change your surroundings. You see, the mind is like a sponge. Whatever it soaks in consistently, it becomes. If you're constantly surrounded by negativity, gossip, laziness, and small thinking, that's what you absorb. That's what starts to shape your mindset. But if you're surrounded by ambition, discipline, drive, and hunger for success, you start to think and act differently. You start to elevate. The problem is, most people don't take their environment seriously. They don't realize that the energy they allow into their space affects their entire life. You have to guard your environment the same way you guard your dreams. You have to protect your mind from influences that weaken you, that make you second guess yourself, that convince you to settle for less than you're capable of. And let's be real. Sometimes it's not just about the people around you. Sometimes the biggest threat to your growth is the environment you created for yourself. The distractions you entertain, the habits you refuse to break, the excuses you keep making. You have to be willing to audit your own life and ask yourself the tough questions. What am I exposing myself to daily? Is it building me up or tearing me down? Are my habits aligned with my goals? Am I in a place that forces me to grow, or am I staying comfortable? Growth is not about luck. Success is not about talent. It's about consistency in the right environment. A tree cannot grow in bad soil. A seed cannot flourish in the wrong conditions. And you cannot reach your full potential if you keep surrounding yourself with the things that are keeping you small. Some of you need to make some serious adjustments. You need to cut off the noise. You need to remove yourself from spaces that are keeping you stagnant. You need to start being intentional with your time, your energy, and your company. Because every second you spend in a negative, limiting environment is a second you could have spent building your future. Now, I get it. Change is uncomfortable. It's hard to walk away from what's familiar. It's hard to let go of relationships that you've outgrown. It's hard to step into new spaces where you feel like you don't belong. But let me tell you something. Discomfort is the price of success. If you're not uncomfortable, you're not growing. The people who make it to the top, the people who break generational cycles, who achieve what others only dream of, they don't wait for the perfect environment. They create it. They seek out mentors. They invest in learning. They cut out distractions. They make sacrifices. They do whatever it takes to place themselves in spaces that challenge them, that force them to stretch beyond their limits. So ask yourself today, are you willing to do that? Are you willing to make the changes necessary to step into your greatness? Are you willing to be uncomfortable? Because at the end of the day, your potential is not defined by your background, your circumstances, or even your talent. It is defined by what you allow yourself to be surrounded by. You want success? Get around people who are hungry for it. You want discipline? Place yourself in environments that demand it. You want to grow? Stop settling for spaces that let you stay the same. Because when you take control of your environment, you take control of your future. Everything in your life right now is a reflection of the environment you've chosen to stay in. The way you think, the way you move, the way you speak, the level of success you've reached, it all comes back to your surroundings. But let me be clear. You don't have to accept the environment you were given. You have the power to change it. You have the power to put yourself in a position to grow, to excel, to break through every limitation that's been placed on you. Some of you grew up in environments that weren't designed for success. You didn't have people around you pushing you to be better. You didn't have role models showing you what's possible. You were surrounded by negativity, by small thinking, by people who settled for less. And whether you realize it or not, that shaped you. It influenced how you see the world, how you see yourself. But listen to me, just because you started in that environment doesn't mean you have to stay there. You can break free from it. You can choose something different, but it's not going to happen by accident. It's not going to happen just because you wish for it. You have to be intentional. You have to decide that you are done being in spaces that limit you. You have to make the uncomfortable decision to leave behind what is familiar and step into the unknown. And that's where most people fail. They don't want to leave their comfort zone. They don't want to cut off toxic relationships. They don't want to distance themselves from people who are holding them back because they're afraid of being alone, afraid of starting over. But let me tell you something. Being alone in the right mindset is better than being surrounded by the wrong people. If the people around you don't inspire you, challenge you, or push you to be better, they are keeping you small. And if you stay in that space long enough, you will start to shrink to fit in. You will start lowering your standards. You will start talking yourself out of your dreams. You will settle, not because you aren't capable of more, but because your environment convinced you that more is impossible. You have to wake up. You have to recognize that your environment is shaping you whether you like it or not. And if you don't take control of it, you will never reach your full potential. So what do? How do you change your environment? You start by surrounding yourself with people who are going where you want to go, people who think bigger, people who have a mindset of growth, of discipline, of success. You find mentors. You join communities that align with your goals. You listen to people who challenge your way of thinking, who force you to elevate. And this doesn't just mean in person. Maybe you don't have access to successful people in real life. Maybe you don't have a network yet. That's fine. Start with what you can control. Change the content you consume. Stop wasting hours watching entertainment that does nothing for your future. Start feeding your mind with knowledge, with motivation, with strategies that help you grow. Your environment isn't just the people around you. It's the habits you develop, the thoughts you entertain, the routines you follow. If you want to change your life, you have to change what you do daily. Get serious about your time. Stop letting distractions pull you away from your goals. Stop spending time with people who drain you. Stop making excuses for why you're not where you want to be. Take ownership. Decide that you are no longer going to be a product of a negative environment. Decide that you are going to create an environment that forces you to grow, that sets you up for success. Because at the end of the day, success isn't about luck. It's not about talent. It's about putting yourself in the right place with the right people and doing the right things over and over again until you reach your goal. You want to win, change your environment. You want success, surround yourself with it. You want growth, step out of the spaces that are keeping you small. Because once you take control of your environment, you take control of your future. Your environment is either feeding your potential or suffocating it. It's either lifting you up or pulling you down. And the scary part, most people don't even realize it. They wake up every day, go through the same routine, talk to the same people, consume the same negativity. And they wonder why their life isn't changing. They wonder why they feel stuck. They wonder why they're not growing. It's because they built a cage around themselves without even knowing it. A mental prison disguised as comfort, disguised as familiarity. But comfort is dangerous. Comfort will rob you of everything you could be. Some of you have big dreams, big ambitions, but the people around you don't dream big. They don't believe in elevation. They don't believe in discipline and sacrifice and hard work. And guess what? That energy is rubbing off on you. You tell yourself, I want to be successful, but your environment is programming you to stay average. You have to make a choice. Do you want to fit in? Or do you want to level up? Because let me tell you something, growth is lonely. When you decide to change, people will look at you differently. They'll say you've changed, and you know what? They're right. You're supposed to change. You're supposed to evolve. You're supposed to outgrow the places, the habits, and even the people that are no longer aligned with your vision. And I know it's hard. I know it hurts to distance yourself from friends, from family, from the people you've known your whole life. But you've got to ask yourself, do I want to stay comfortable or do I want to be great? Successful people didn't get there by accident. They made tough choices. They walked away from distractions. They put themselves in environments that forced them to rise. They didn't wait for the right circumstances. They created them. That's what you have to do. You have to be relentless about who and what you allow into your space. Your environment should challenge you, not comfort you. It should make you think bigger, not settle for less. Some of you need to change your circle. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. If you're the most motivated person in your group, you need a new group. You need people who are ahead of you, who make you feel uncomfortable in the best way possible. People who show you that your current level is just the beginning. And let me be real with you. It's not going to be easy. Growth isn't supposed to be easy. It's supposed to stretch you, push you, break you down, and build you back up stronger. But if you keep surrounding yourself with comfort, with mediocrity, with people who don't push themselves, you'll never experience what you're truly capable of. So start paying attention to your environment. Look at the people you spend the most time with. Do they inspire you? Do they push you? Or are they just keeping you entertained, keeping you distracted, keeping you the same? Look at your habits. Are they setting you up for success, or are they keeping you stagnant? Look at your mindset. Are you feeding it with growth, with learning, with ambition, or are you filling it with fear, with excuses, with negativity? It's time to make a decision, because the truth is, if you don't change your environment will change you. And if that environment isn't built for success, it will strip you of your dreams, your drive, your potential, until one day you wake up and realize you settled for a life far below what you were capable of. Don't let that happen to you. Be intentional, be aggressive, be unapologetic about creating an environment that forces you to become the best version of yourself. Because at the end of the day, your growth, your success, your future, it's all in your hands. You have to take full ownership of your environment. Too many people blame their circumstances, blame their past, blame the people around them. But let me tell you something. Your environment is your responsibility. You may not have created it, but you have the power to change it. The problem is most people don't want to. They say they want to succeed, but they're still hanging around the same crowd that doesn't believe in success. They say they want to grow, but they're still holding on to habits that stunt their growth. They say they want more from life, but they refuse to leave the comfort of their current surroundings. Success demands sacrifice, and sometimes that sacrifice is walking away from the very things that once felt like home. You see, elevation requires separation. You can't rise if you're constantly weighed down by negativity, by doubt, by small-minded thinking. You can't reach new heights if you refuse to let go of what's holding you back. And here's the truth. Some people in your life don't want to see you win. They won't say it out loud, but deep down, they're comfortable with you staying the same because it makes them feel better about not changing. Your growth reminds them of their stagnation, and rather than being inspired, they'll try to pull you back down. That's why you have to be intentional about your circle. You need to be around people who are hungry, people who are striving for more, people who make you uncomfortable because they force you to level up. And listen, I get it. Changing your environment isn't easy. Some of you have been in the same place for years. You've known the same people your whole life. You've built habits, routines, and mindsets that feel familiar, that feel safe, but safe isn't always good for you. Some of you are suffocating under the weight of your own comfort zone. You've been there so long that you don't even realize it's keeping you stuck. You convince yourself that this is just the way things are, that this is all you can ever have. But that's a lie. That's a lie your environment has conditioned you to believe. If you want to break free, you have to start making different choices. You have to start surrounding yourself with people who challenge you. You have to put yourself in rooms that make you feel uncomfortable, because that discomfort is where growth happens. You need to be around people who think bigger, who work harder, who expect more from themselves. Because when you're around that kind of energy, you have no choice but to step up. And let me tell you something else. This isn't just about the people in your life. Your environment is everything you consume, the books you read, the videos you watch, the conversations you engage in, the thoughts you allow to take up space in your mind. If you're constantly feeding yourself negativity, doubt, and fear, don't be surprised when you start living in negativity, doubt, and fear. You need to start feeding yourself with things that inspire you, that educate you, that push you toward your goals. You need to start filling your mind with knowledge, with strategy, with wisdom from people who have already done what you're trying to do. Because success isn't just about working harder. It's about thinking differently. It's about shifting your mindset, shifting your surroundings, shifting the way you move in the world. And that starts with a decision to no longer accept mediocrity. A decision to no longer stay in environments that don't serve your growth. A decision to stop waiting for things to change and start changing them yourself. It's not going to be easy. There will be days when you question yourself, days when you feel alone, days when you want to go back to what's familiar because growth is uncomfortable. But let me tell you something. Every single successful person you admire had to go through this. They had to make tough choices. They had to step away from comfort. They had to take control of their environment. And because they did, they created a life most people only dream of. That can be you. But it starts with a choice.